On this edition of Bay Area Bountiful, we explore new innovations and historic techniques to construct more sustainable buildings. First, we tour a Palo Alto home designed to be carbon neutral. We study the natural building methods of the California Institute of Earth Architecture. And we discover a unique program that teaches young people sustainable building skills in order to help the environment and build a career. It's all coming up next on Bay Area Bountiful.
Bay Area Bountiful is made possible in part by Rocky the free-range chicken and Rosie the original organic chicken. The Sonoma County Agricultural Preservation and Open Space District, Made Local Magazine and Sonoma County Go Local, and through the generous support of Sonoma Water. Cultivate, celebrate, connect.
In the middle of suburban Palo Alto, one neighborhood is host to a groundbreaking experiment in residential green building, Project Green Home. The homeowners had a vision to rebuild their house in the greenest way possible and to share their progress far and wide in order to provide inspiration for others to do the same. Architect Annie Tilt guides us through the innovative elements and some of the revolutionary technology employed. One goal was to generate enough power to charge their own electric car and share a free curbside EV charger with the public. A groundbreaking experiment in residential green building has been taking shape in Palo Alto, Project Green Home. From the start, progress has been shared online for all to see.
It's very important to us to fight climate change any way we can. When we started this, I was really scared. I never thought about building a house. We said, give it a try. Let's make this as green as we can. So in a week, we're going to have an open house. Well, we have a lot to get ready for this open house. This is a working house with lots of children and people running through every day, and we're going to have to clean this up and make it ready. We've got 4 interns right now, all really interested in the environment, and they're a joy to be around.
As I reflect back on meeting with the architect and the builder, we got our comfortable, functional, beautiful, and really low carbon, low energy home without any loss of lifestyle.
Shortly after the house was built, Annie Tilt of Ark & Tilt Architects gave cameras a tour of the premises.
At Ark & Tilt Architects, we have a sort of informal motto, which is a maximum kick with minimum impact, very little environmental impact. There was an existing house on site that needed to come down. All of the pieces were reused, and then we started from scratch. So this is a madrone trunk, providing that connection to nature and the source of framing of the structure of the entire house.
This is our home,
which has the triple crown for Beyond Platinum LEED, Net Zero Energy, Passive House. But more importantly, it's comfortable, it's beautiful, it's fun, and it's extremely cost effective on the utility bills.
The upper level is the bedroom level, and they're all sort of centered around this playroom, which is open and connects to the living room. Because this space is open to below, it allows hot air to rise up and then exit out operable skylights. This is Passive House certified, which means that there is a very tight building envelope, well insulated with very little air leakage.
It doesn't matter how hot it is in the summer or how cold it is in the winter, you walk into this house, it's always the same temperature.
To go from 90 degrees outside to 72 degrees inside, and we're not using a lick of air conditioning.
And we're connecting the space to the outdoors, so it makes the whole space feel larger.
And I think that this will help encourage people to make their houses more green and save the environment, which, in my opinion, desperately needs saving.
It's a wood frame house that has both that low embodied energy but also a kind of warmth. We like to use salvage doors. These are from Urban Ore, which were stripped and cleaned by the owners. We're using advanced framing techniques, which puts the framing at 24 inches on center rather than 16. Here at the center of the house, we're using deeper framing as bookshelves so that you really understand the structural system of the house. When you're using these standard systems, then it becomes something that is replicable, that can be used on houses large and small, even on commercial projects.
Most of the time we don't have lights on. I mean, in the night we do, but during the day, the house is lit beautifully with natural light.
In terms of the water systems, from urine diverting toilets to gray water to even experimental black water systems, rainwater collection, we really need to be looking at the whole picture.
So another aspect of building this house was to try to get these technologies and ideas out to the public as much as possible, to let people know what there is, so then when they go build their houses, they can incorporate as much as they want. And besides, my husband is a big extrovert, and so he loves having people through. And we share with them some of the technologies, for example, our eco-friendly toilet systems. Yes, they've all enjoyed the toilets.
This sort of building science of the envelope has implications for any building anywhere, and actually codes are going that way as well. So all designers and builders really need to understand these systems as we move forward, as we're creating more energy efficient buildings for the future. The photovoltaic system is sized to meet both the needs of the house as well as the car.
We've got an electric car charger outside that anyone can charge in, and it's free. It's really telling people that electric cars are awesome.
When we looked at putting solar in, I knew that I wanted to also address my transportation energy needs. And since we drive electric cars, we needed additional solar panels. And the cars get 8,000 to 12,000 miles of driving from our solar panels. So when we installed the electric car charger, obviously the neighbors could see it and knew about it.
A first-of-its-kind curbside EV charger makes power from Project Green Home's solar panels available to neighbors free of charge.
The joy is we have a whole number of neighbors that have used it for a week or a month before they got electric cars at their own homes. So it's been much appreciated by the neighborhood. It's really interesting to think about energy. Hey, Kate.
Yeah, sweetie?
We just got our electric bill. When you take all these things into consideration, the insulation in the home, the passive house features, our home uses 80% less energy than your typical Californian home. And that is just wonderful.
So does this mean I get my hot tub now?
Yes, you can have your hot tub. We'll just put some more solar panels on the house to generate the energy carbon free. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
I feel like there's no difference between our house than other houses. When friends come over, they usually ask me why there's so many people over, and I usually say, my dad's doing a tour or something, and then that's usually it.
None of this would happen without Sven because he thinks out of the box. I never would have invited 4,000 people to come tour my house, sometimes at random times, sometimes without notice, sometimes when the house isn't clean. Sometimes they just show up.
I really like parties, and we're celebrating that the curbside charger has given away over 100,000 miles of petroleum-free driving. We've displaced 33 tons of carbon dioxide, and we're gonna party to celebrate this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Project Green Home. I've been asked to do a quick overview over the house.
We're gonna tour the home and talk about energy-saving features that actually make life more convenient, cheaper, and safer. We're gonna show off a whole bunch of induction stoves. We're gonna make a mess of different dishes, all on induction. And we're generally just gonna whoop it up. We have a beautiful home. For me as a geeky engineer, we have a functional home. Our home ends up using nearly doodly squat energy. That is, it's just really small compared to conventional Californian homes.
100,000 miles of electricity has been given away at that charger. So thank you all for
This is a culmination of what I want to do.
These two are heroes. Let's give them a round of applause.
To learn more, visit projectgreenhome.org. The California Institute of Earth Architecture, or CalEarth, appears like some alien subdivision dropped from outer space into a typical suburban neighborhood. The CalEarth site features exotic, beehive-shaped adobe designed to incorporate natural and readily available materials. These strange structures against the backdrop of the recently built suburban homes makes the CalEarth dwellings seem out of place at first glance, but after closer inspection, they appear completely natural in the arid environment.
Originally, when my father came to this empty plot of land, he was trying to figure out what kind of a place he can start to experiment and build structures that would help humanity and nature. They had no money or anything like that, so they said, what can we do that would be really inexpensive? Well, let's dig a hole.
My dad was so passionate about helping people, and he believed that architecture was most meaningful if people were able to build themselves their own home with nothing but the earth under their feet. This was his quest, this was his life's work that he spent every day out here in the desert, and sometimes people thought, what's this crazy man doing?
Nader Khalili, our founder, an Iranian-American architect, got a lot of his inspiration from classical Persian poetry, and especially the mystic poet Rumi, who says, "Earth turns to gold in the hands of the wise," and the timeless four elements of earth, air, water, fire. And we use the four elements really in all of our practices. Earth is our primary material, and varying the water content, we could get earth to behave in a lot of different ways. Fire can be seen as the sun. We position our building so the sun helps heat it when we need heat, and it also shades itself. And of course, air leads to the drying of the building. We insist at our institute that all of our students demonstrate respect to the medium by calling it earth and not just addressing it as dirt. In a nutshell, Nader would tell people to dig your pool and build your house. And we just teach people the basic skills of how to transform that earth from under your feet to over your head.
Originally, when my father first came here, this desert was completely empty. Then when the housing boom happened, we became surrounded by these cookie-cutter homes.
Our neighbors really don't know how to think of us or what to do with us. We get a lot of Star Wars. It looks like Tatooine, or it looks like Hobbit houses. People ask, "Oh, are you a commune?" We're like, "No, not really. We have an on-site residency program, but we're not a commune." They're like, "Are you a cult?" We're like, "Well, we're very passionate about what we do, but we're not a cult."
My father was a traditional architect and urban developer building skyscrapers, but he was very unhappy. So he left that work because he realized that it wasn't serving humanity or the earth. My father's passion was the fact that there's over 1 billion people in the world who have inadequate housing today. The solutions my dad came up with were how to build a home cheaply and be taught to anybody.
We build arches, we build circles, we build domes, we build vaults. And these are all based on the same cooperative relationship with gravity, where gravity is not slowly pulling your building apart, but it's consistently pulling your building together over time.
The reason you see all these prototypes at CalEarth is that we're presented with challenges in different environments. And so we continue to test until we come up with a solution.
It's actually amazingly flexible. So every time we go to another country to design something there, we always take into consideration local traditions, different kinds of waterproofing or plastering, so that we can accommodate the needs of the people who are going to live in the homes.
We've taken these structures and taught a lot of people, and they've been built all over the world, from Africa to Europe to Asia, dealing with humanitarian crisis and personal housing.
Our site in San Bernardino here at CalEarth, it's our mothership, it's our playground, it's where we get to experiment, and we don't know what it is that we're gonna find later with these exciting experiments that we're doing today. The first time I came here, it was very surreal. You know, I'd heard about it and read about it and intellectually connected with it, but to actually tangibly be able to touch the buildings was a very moving experience. Notter firmly believed and would teach his students that hands are just as much tools for receiving information as our eyes or ears or noses, and the only way they start working is by putting them in the earth.
Working with earth it's really flexible material. You can really shape it into whatever you want. I can do everything. I can mix, I can lay bag, I can lay the barbed wire.
Traditional architects and builders sometimes are skeptical about the work that we do because it is so simple.
It's below a lot of engineers to bother themselves with dirt. We can take someone who might not even be comfortable changing a light bulb in their own house, but after 6 days of our intensive workshop, they can go somewhere and get some unskilled laborers and guide them together into building a safe shelter. Hello everyone, welcome to CalEarth. Thank you so much for joining us out here.
We're very open to the community, and we're all about community. So we have an open house every month for people to come and visit and tell them all about it. You know, my father, he would come to my second grade class and he'd ask all the children to go to the board and say, draw me a house. And we'd all go and draw a square box with a triangle on it. Because of growing up like that, so much deforestation has happened. Because of these roofs, they require wood. So why not make it a circle? So what he taught the class was, let's all make rainbow houses. Let's all make arches.
We have people who come locally and they bring their friends and their neighbors to show them, and they see what we've been able to do with just the earth and some sandbags and barbed wire. They're truly, truly amazed at the possibilities.
After the housing boom here, there was a bust. And all of these homes that were going for very, very high prices dropped.
The type of development that was done is not very environmental or relevant to the desert context. None of the wood is local to this area, and the thin building envelope requires a lot of energy use. So having them be here right up against our fence really gives us the opportunity to draw vivid comparisons.
Well, my father's initial focus was always on building for the poor. This house here that we're in right now is called Earth One, and it's the kind of house that fulfills that suburban dream. 3-bedroom house with a 2-car garage and a fireplace and everything like that. Significantly less expensive than building a traditional structure. Also doesn't lead to deforestation, and literally you're going to build your house from what's underneath your feet.
The building envelope is more sustainable. It will cost you less to heat and cool and maintain over its lifetime.
We've been able to create plans that have passed the rigorous tests by the Building Department of California to allow these structures to become mainstream and available to everybody.
Everyone deserves to have a shelter over their head. They have the earth around them and they have the labor around them. They just don't have that information to get the earth to provide shelter for them. Every day we fire up the mixer and shovel some earth, and just slowly pursuing our quest, one shovel at a time.
Conservation Corps North Bay was the first local youth corps in the nation with one simple goal: to engage and empower young people by teaching them to cultivate and preserve the environment. Most Corps members enter the program with no high school diploma, some have been incarcerated, and almost all are from extremely low-income households. A new sustainable building program is teaching the Corps members the skills to build small-scale housing. Tiny houses can provide high-density housing with a low impact on the environment.
Conservation Corps North Bay, or CCNB, is a local nonprofit. We work with 18 to 30-year-olds, individuals who are looking to gain different skills, work experience, or receive their high school diploma. And they work on different crews throughout Sonoma and Marin County. This program differs from other apprenticeship or trade programs because we not only offer the training element and various certifications, we also offer a diploma completion program as well as paid work experience that's over minimum wage.
Started off recycling department, and then I got my certifications through there, through whole for strictly recycling, and then I did that for like a year or two. Then I jumped over to natural resource, which I did 2 years summer program, which is the Sonoma County Youth Ecology Corps, or SUYC. I did 2 years with them, cleaning out the Sonoma County creeks. It also gave me good certifications, like confined spacement certified, flagger, and first stage CPR.
I heard about CCNB in general through a program called West County Community Services, which is like directly linked with like helping high school students. So I was working with them straight out of high school. And I got too old for that program, and I decided to keep kind of doing the same thing, except CCNB, you get to use chainsaws, which is more fun.
The tiny house was designed to go to a local resident who was a victim of the recent fire, and we got a grant recently to be able to have this trades academy and pay our Corps members for different certifications around the trades. And part of that grant was to help us develop a workforce to respond to the rebuild efforts since the fire that happened in 2017. Certain elements like the flooring that we got for the tiny home, that was floor model flooring that was going to go directly into the landfill, and we decided to take it and repurpose it.
While building the tiny house, I learned that I really enjoy using a hammer and a nail gun, and framing was really fun. I actually enjoyed the plumbing, which I was surprised because it was one of the things that I wasn't really excited about until it came, and then I was like, this is cool. I enjoy giving back to the community by restoring and helping prevent, for example, fires or flooding. We do the creek works to prevent overflow.
For the tiny home, we got a lot of reclaimed materials and materials from other contractors and facilities that didn't need them anymore, so we didn't really have to purchase a lot of material. So there we diverted things from going into the landfill and building the tiny home. Not a lot of materials were purchased new.
We wattled the whole place and we seeded it all, and it was burnt to the ground, and there was just like burnt manzanita. And I'm not actually quite sure how it looks now, but the process of being able to bring back life, I guess, where it was destroyed, I think is really cool. I also enjoy doing trail work with Point Reyes. I don't really enjoy weed whacking, but I enjoy what weed whacking prevents, which is people's homes and their businesses from going up. Taking the knowledge that I learned here, I compost and I recycle, and I make sure I don't use anything that would damage the environment more. Like I use metal straws and silicone straws, and if I can help it, I'll have my own container to have food or drinks instead of doing paper or plastic. For this NRC side, I always point out non-native plants. It's like, without trying, I'm like, oh, that's so bad, it's just gonna keep growing. Or like the Douglas fir that everyone sees like on mountains, and they're like, oh, isn't it so cute? Learning about these plants has taught me that I would like to take botany and environmental studies at the JC. It's nice to know what is a non-native to a native and how both can be invasive. And it's nice to be able to do a job and know the plans and know why you're doing something, instead of like, oh, it's just my work. It's more like, well, we cut this because it's a non-native and it helps from whatever the place is from burning up, or we help cut back invasive so that it gives a chance for native plants to be able to grow.
Every single human that comes through this door is here to get on a path to a better future. So, you know, all the individuals that we work with are really motivated to do better for themselves and while giving back to the community.
Creating a built environment that follows sustainable practices may seem like a daunting task. Our society has become accustomed to designing and constructing homes and offices in a predetermined manner with off-the-shelf materials. The value proposition for sustainable building gives us a different choice: to spend more up front and save lots of money in the long term. In the end, sustainable, energy-efficient structures are more cost-effective, they use less carbon, and are all around better for the environment.